BlackBerry was no ordinary phone company, and this is no ordinary story. It built the device that ran modern business, then watched that empire crack the moment the phone stopped being a keyboard and became a screen. In 1984, in Waterloo, Ontario, Mike Lazaridis co-founded Research in Motion with Douglas Friedgen. He was obsessed with wireless data, sending information through the air, not just voices. The stakes were brutal, because RIM was small, underfunded, and building for a future most people could not even picture. Lazaridis had the engineer's gift of seeing signal inside noise. He cared about compression, battery life, and how to squeeze more information through narrow pipes. That sounds technical, but it shaped everything that came later. Mobile networks were slow, expensive, and unreliable. So why would anyone want a computer in their pocket if it drained its battery and failed half the time? Lazaridis believed the answer was efficiency, not spectacle. RIM spent its early years making wireless tools and components, learning how mobile networks actually behaved. It was patient work, almost invisible from the outside. But invisible work can build dangerous advantages. In 1992, Jim Balsillie joined the company and brought the force Lazaridis did not. Lazaridis built the machine. Balsillie sold the future. He pushed harder, talked bigger, and aimed the company at markets willing to pay real money. That pairing became the whole BlackBerry story. Engineering discipline on one side, commercial aggression on the other. It also planted the seed of future conflict. Because when a company has two brains, it can become brilliant or divided. And as mobile computing got closer, RIM was about to discover which one it had. By the late 1990s, RIM found the opening that would make it famous. The internet was exploding, business was speeding up, and executives wanted their email everywhere. Laptops were too slow to open on the move. Phones were too dumb to handle serious messaging. RIM built around that gap. In 1999, it released the BlackBerry 850, a two-way pager with a small screen and a thumb keyboard. It did not look glamorous. It looked useful. And useful can be more addictive than beautiful. The key feature was push email. Messages arrived instantly without the user asking for them. That changed the rhythm of work. You could hear the vibration in a quiet meeting, pull the device from a suit pocket, and answer in seconds. The plastic keys clicked like tiny typewriter teeth. People did not just use BlackBerry, they started living inside it. The company sold security, reliability, and speed to banks, law firms, governments, and corporate IT departments. IT means the internal technology teams that choose what a company can safely use. That mattered because employees might want cool gadgets, but IT departments buy systems that do not break. BlackBerry became the rare device loved by both the worker and the gatekeeper. Then the nickname arrived, Crackberry. It was half joke, half warning. Because once instant mobile email became normal, there was no going back. And that new habit was about to turn RIM into a global power. By the mid-2000s, BlackBerry was no longer a niche business tool. It was the phone of power. If you saw one clipped to a belt or glowing under a boardroom table, you knew exactly what it meant. This person mattered, and this person was never fully off duty. That status spread far beyond corporate America. Lawyers used them, traders used them, politicians used them. In 2009, Barack Obama fought to keep using his BlackBerry after becoming president of the United States. That was free advertising no campaign could buy. At its height, BlackBerry's great strength was not hardware alone. It controlled the whole experience: the device, the software, the secure network, and the server software companies installed behind their own firewalls. A firewall is a security barrier between a private network and the outside internet. For governments and regulated industries, that control felt safe. For customers, the keyboard felt unbeatable. You could type blind, in a taxi, on a sidewalk, in the dark. So where was the danger? It was hidden inside the very thing that made BlackBerry great. The company had trained itself to believe that email was the center of the mobile world. It had won so completely in one category that it began to confuse that category with the entire future. And in January 2007, that future walked on stage in San Francisco. In January 2007, Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone. He called it, quote, an iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. The room laughed, clapped, and stared at a slab of glass that looked almost unfinished. No keyboard, no track wheel, no tiny buttons asking to be loved. BlackBerry's leaders were not impressed. They saw weaknesses everywhere. Battery life, network strain, typing on glass, business security. Some of those criticisms were fair, but fair is not the same as correct. The iPhone was not trying to be a better BlackBerry. It was redefining what a phone was supposed to be. BlackBerry had optimized for email. Apple optimized for software, media, and touch. Touch meant the screen itself became the input. That changed everything from browsing to maps to games. At first, BlackBerry still looked strong. Its installed base was huge, its enterprise relationships were deep, and many executives still preferred keys under their thumbs. That comfort became a trap. Because a market leader can survive a bad product from a rival, it rarely survives a new category it refuses to respect. And after the iPhone came Google's Android, turning one threat into many. By 2008, BlackBerry had to answer Apple in public. The stakes were existential now, because a bad response would teach customers to imagine life after the keyboard. That response was the BlackBerry Storm. It was the company's first major touchscreen phone, and it landed with a thud. The software felt unfinished. The typing felt awkward. Even the clickable screen tried to imitate the certainty of real keys, which only underlined what had been lost. The problem was deeper than one device. BlackBerry's operating system had been built for an earlier era. Reworking it for modern touch computing was slow, messy, and politically difficult. Meanwhile, Apple kept improving the iPhone. Google spread Android across multiple manufacturers and price points. BlackBerry was now fighting a war on two fronts. Inside the company, the old logic still had defenders. Enterprise customers still cared about security. Keyboard loyalists still loved the product. Carrier partners still wanted alternatives to Apple. All true. None of it solved the core issue. Consumers were teaching the market that phones were becoming pocket computers, and app ecosystems were becoming the new moat. A moat is a defensive advantage that keeps rivals out. BlackBerry did not build that moat in time. In 2010, it bought QNX, a software company whose operating system was respected in embedded systems, specialized computers inside machines. That could have been a foundation. Instead, the transition dragged. In 2011, the BlackBerry Playbook tablet launched without a native email app. For a company defined by email, that miss felt surreal. Then came BlackBerry 10 in 2013, late, ambitious, and entering a market that had already chosen its winners. By then, the company was not just behind, it was running on a map that no longer matched the territory. By the mid-2010s, BlackBerry's phone empire was broken. The brand still carried memory, but memory does not stop a market from moving on. In 2013, Fairfax Financial proposed taking BlackBerry private, but the deal as originally structured did not happen. Leadership changed, strategy changed. The old certainty vanished. BlackBerry eventually moved away from making its own phones and focused on software, security, and automotive systems. That pivot kept the company alive. It did not restore the empire. The rise and fall of BlackBerry is painful because the failure was not stupidity. It was success hardening into doctrine. The company had solved one giant problem, secure mobile messaging, and then kept solving it after the world had moved to a different question. Customers no longer wanted only a work device. They wanted one device for work, play, photos, maps, browsing, shopping, and apps. BlackBerry saw many of those trends. It just never organized itself around them fast enough. That is what makes this story linger. In business, decline often looks rational from the inside. Every delay has a reason. Every compromise feels temporary. Every loyal customer makes the old model look alive 1 quarter longer. Then, the market closes around you. BlackBerry did not lose because it forgot how to build. It lost because it mistook its best feature for the future itself. In fiscal 2024, BlackBerry reported $853 million in revenue, proof that the company survived even if the kingdom did not. And that may be the real warning in this story. The thing that makes a company dominant in one era can make it deaf in the next. In this story, the thing that makes a company dominant in one era can make it deaf in the next. BlackBerry mastered one age of mobile communications so completely that it struggled to imagine the next one. In fiscal 2024, BlackBerry reported $853 million in revenue as a software and security company, smaller, narrower, still alive. The phones are gone, but the lesson is not. Dominance can sharpen a company and then